allow you to introduce yourselves. I think so. Jaxx, we'll start with you. How's it?
How's it? Hi guys, my name is Amahle-Imvelo Jaxa, also known as Jaxx Amahle. I am a professional yapper, current affairs enthusiast, but more than anything, a youth advocate and someone who wants to just bring news to you guys in a way that's palatable, engage with you guys, and make sure you're informed about this beautiful country of ours. Yeah. So yeah, that's my bio.
You're doing a great job. Let's give her a round of applause, Lerai.
Dumelang everybody. Libitso la ka ke Lerai. I'm literally cheesing sitting on this panel right now. I've got Housets to my left and I've got Mpoomy Ledwaba to my right. Like, imagine. And of course, the corporate girlie herself. I am a creative entrepreneur, a social change maker, and a conversation strategist. I sit between policy and people. I take what all those people are saying in those rooms, what G20, what national dialogue, what, and I make it understandable for my people, for us, young people. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Me.
You're doing a great job.
Hey everyone, I'm Anele Nzimande Maphanga, otherwise known as PR Boss Babe.
Yes.
And I'm the PR and influencer lead for Unilever. One of my brands is Dove. And I love being in spaces like this because I love women. I love being a woman.
Yeah.
I love all things women, so it's incredible to be here.
Welcome, ladies. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, so our conversation, we're talking about beauty on your own terms. And obviously, a lot of you are wearing blue. I was wearing blue and I was walking for real beauty. And I have shared my own journey about how I didn't struggle with confidence growing up. And then I get pregnant. And then my entire being just does a number on me, just flips. And this is happening while my public channel or my public career is growing, and I have to make the decision, do I step back until I get my pretty face back, or do I continue with what is important to me? And luckily I continued, and I still cannot look at those videos because ultimately I didn't feel good about myself. I was very insecure. But today's conversation really is about regaining control over our own definitions of beauty and how we choose to express them. And I want to ask you, ladies, do you have a personal story like mine that you can share where you felt so insecure or are feeling insecure, yet you chose to show up?
I can go first. I think for me, my biggest insecurity has always been my eyebrows, believe it or not.
Okay.
And it's because when I was in grade 7, and now I'm revealing my age. But those thin brows were very in. People used to shave off their entire brow and then they used to draw like a thin pencil, right? Yeah. And a friend of mine comes up to me, at the wave of this trend and says, "You have really bushy eyebrows." And from that point onwards, I went to my mother and I asked her and I said, "Please, can you give me money to get my eyebrows tweezed and waxed?" And at the time, it was 30 Rand. I would go to the local mall, take a 5 Rand taxi. I would pay 30 Rand to wax my brows from the time I was like 13, 14, because it was a very big insecurity of mine. And I always say, it's so important to have brands like Dove. Yeah. Talk about redefining. It's about taking control, redefining beauty on your own terms, and being authentic to you, because now everybody wants to have brows like this.
Exactly. We're drawing our brows out.
Everyone's filling their brows in. I'm sitting in makeup chairs and people are saying, "You have such beautiful brows. I love working with your brows. Yeah. They're so easy to shape, And I think if you don't take control of what beauty means for you, you're going to be following every single trend.
Absolutely.
And you lose yourself in the process.
Absolutely. And now the trends, unlike brows, you can actually grow back brows. There's other trends where once you make that decision based on what's trending, there's no going back, and it's really shocking. Lerai, do you want to share a personal story?
Mine actually happened just now with Anele. We're getting ready for this panel, and obviously we're singing Bashile song is Fageli Davyam. And I'm lotioning myself up, and Anele says to me, "Oh my gosh, you've got such a beautiful body, you know. Ish, namabele wako ate." I was like, "Thank you, but ish, you know, when gravity hits, ayalega now." And so, you know, she says to me, "No, but that's a real body. That's what your body's like." And I'm coming into my woman body, you know. And I'm still getting used to that. So I think just having people around, just in those little moments that just remind you to, you know what, your natural you is beautiful. So it actually happened like an hour ago.
Kudos to you, Anele.
I'm a girl's girl.
Yeah.
Mine, I think, is quite obvious. Ngai. So, my mother has a condition called psoriasis, and I also have that same condition. So I used to be a braids girl and do all these kinds of braids, especially early on in my varsity career. So different colors, pink, blue, similar to the palette that we have here today. And then slowly but surely, I started losing patches of my hair. And obviously then I became a wig girl. Still can't do an install to save my life. But I became a wig girl, and then eventually this one day I had a face beat, like one of these. And I walked into the salon and I was just like, just cut it all off. And I made a conscious decision that day, and I've shared this as part of my Dove skin story because it is still skin, even though it's on my head, that I would not wear a wig. I wouldn't wear caps. I would spend at least 3 months with a bald head. And there's a lot of scarring as well. So it was very important for me to kind of assume the fact that this is my reality. This is what psoriasis does. And it happens in different places for different people. For my mom, it's on her nose, around her face. I think Kim Kardashian, it's her legs or something like that. So that's my insecurity. But when I look at myself now, I don't even know what a Jaxx with hair looks like. Like, that's strange.
Yeah.
Why does she have hair? Ew.
That's so good.
Yeah, so for me, it was cutting all my hair off. And I know women, we tend to, and men, if there are men around, we tend to, you know, attach our beauty to our hair. We spend so much money on our hair and all of that stuff, and it becomes part of our identity. And so for me, stripping that identity was quite a tough thing. But one thing about Ngai, it will prove to you about umhle or not.
Yeah. I think on that note, Jaxx, when you hear the phrase real beauty, and I want to ask all you ladies to answer this one as well. When you hear the phrase real beauty, what does it mean to you? If you'd allow me, I'll start. I think initially when I thought real beauty, I thought it was about no makeup, no, you know, you must wear your hair as it is, don't manipulate. And I was like, actually, that's the extreme end of things. For me, real beauty is an acceptance and a freedom of where I am in that moment, you know. And if it is braids with no face beat, how do I feel about myself? And usually it's rather always from how I'm feeling inside, about how I feel about myself, the things that I'm doing, and then it reflects on the outside. But yeah, I wanted to just clarify that initially I also thought real beauty is about stripping all these things and demonizing the makeup, but it's actually really not. It's about who am I today and am I okay with that? So I'll start with you.
Yeah, for me, real beauty, I think you've stolen my answer. Thanks.
Sorry. But you said you're a professional, what did you say? Professional yapper?
Professional yapper.
Yeah, so yap away.
No, for me, to be honest with you, and as cheesy as this sounds, you will never be or understand real beauty until you have confidence in yourself in whatever format, right? You have the capabilities of changing a lot of things to suit your beauty standards. But I do believe that stripping away, and I think this is where we might differ a bit. I'm not saying like, oh, you must be natural to be beautiful. But what I am saying is that your truest essence, when you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself, that is beauty for me. And that only comes from understanding yourself, understanding your beliefs, your values, not attaching any of those to social media, for example.
Yeah.
You know, like, no shade to people who do plastic surgery. Do you, if that's going to get you to your feeling of beauty. But there has to be a level of confidence no matter what state you are in, for you to realize real beauty.
I love that. Lerai, what does the phrase real beauty mean to you?
I think the journey that I've been as of late is more so real beauty is about seeing myself. And for the longest time, I only chose to see parts of myself and sort of sweep the other ones under the rug.
Yeah.
But when you really take a look at yourself and you see the broken parts of you, the messy parts of you, along with the parts of you that you're proud of, the parts that are on your timeline.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
I'm learning to embrace me and my journey and to see the beauty in my journey that comes with the pain, that comes with the pleasure. So it's seeing yourself for real.
I love that. Anele?
Yeah, I think just to echo what the ladies have said, real beauty is about being at peace, being able to live and love the girl in the mirror. And I think that's the most important person. That's the person you see before you go to bed at night when you're brushing your teeth. That's the person you see when you wake up, and you're washing your face. And I think a lot of us hide away from that person. And it's that hiding and the lack of confidence that actually prevents people from taking up space and taking up opportunities. You were speaking about being pregnant and feeling like I don't look my best, therefore I need to hide myself. And in doing that, you hide your gifts and your talents.
Correct.
And you deprive people who actually need to benefit and eat the fruit that God has actually placed in you.
Exactly.
So for me, real beauty is actually understanding that it's not just about the physical.
Yeah.
Like it goes beyond. There's something that has been deposited in me that I must share with the world, regardless of how I feel about how I look physically currently. And I think most...
I think we can clap to that.
And I think for Dove, right, it's been an evolution for us. We've been championing real beauty for the last 20 years. Last year, specifically, we identified a new threat to real beauty, which is AI.
Yeah.
Not only are you competing with the Instagram face, the perfect bodies, the perfect models, but you're also competing with someone who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's predicted
Perfected.
in 2026, at least 90% of the content you see online is going to be AI.
In 2026.
Girl, 3 months from now. At least 90% of the content. And I think what is so exciting for me is that Dove has made a commitment that we will not produce AI-generated images to generate women.
Yeah, we can clap to that.
We will not use AI models to represent women. So it will always be real women and real beauty that you see on Dove adverts.
Mpoomy, sorry, can I just add something
jump
to
in.
that? As you were speaking, I also think real beauty will come from you when there is wellness involved in your life.
Yes.
When there is health, when there's mental health, all those things that you see at the back there.
Literally.
Nemali.
Yeah. Nemali, very important.
Nemali is beauty.
It's very important. Anele, and you've touched a bit about it, but firstly, and my question was going to be what's Dove's commitment to tackling digital distortion? But I want you to unpack just a little bit, what is this digital distortion? Because I think if you, from a corporate side, you work with this, you have a full understanding when you say 90% of images will be AI. But for someone who just thinks AI is ChatGPT, can you actually break down what this might look like in 2026 on a daily basis and how it's going to affect the everyday woman and Dove's commitment to tackling this distortion?
Yeah, firstly, I want to say AI is great. We love AI. We love technology. I think it has such incredible uses. You can generate on a ChatGPT, for example, prompts that help you with campaigns, with ideation. It can help you take notes. I use Copilot when I'm in a meeting, and it will summarize what was in the meeting. So AI is incredible, but obviously, like with anything, it has to be in moderation, and there's a dark shadow side of anything. And I think the dark side of AI is with image generation, it can create these perfect images, especially with younger and younger people, younger girls being online, not recognizing that this is not real.
Yeah.
You can't look like
You
this.
can't look like that.
No one looks like this. And I think it's the disclosure that is important to show that this is an AI-generated image, so that we are not placing that pressure and we understand that this is digital and that distortion is not impacting people from a mental wellness and emotional well-being perspective. I think also the danger with AI is when you put in those prompts and you generate the image, it doesn't understand the nuances, right?
Yeah,
If you say, produce for me a South African woman, it's going to produce one thing. And just look at how many different
diverse
faces
we are.
and how diverse we are. How do you capture that diversity in a prompt?
Sure.
And I think that's why it's important for brands to continue to champion the use of real women,
Yeah.
images that are real,
Yeah.
which really just helps women build resilience and confidence and self-esteem through the toolkits that we provide.
Sure. Anele mentioned that with younger people, they might not be able to see that these images that are created is actually not real people. And Lerai, you obviously speak to a younger generation that's grown up in social media. We were introduced to social media and we are already overstimulated. And now we've got a generation that's all they know. What are you noticing when it comes to beauty and distortion? And I'll ask this, piggybacking on this, I was listening to a conversation that more and more men do not know how to have conversations with women.
We
Men,
know.
yeah, you know.
We know.
Men no longer know how to have conversations with women simply because gachetwa. So being asked out or just forming relationships on a personal capacity is just no longer a thing. So now taking it to beauty and this younger generation that's growing in that, what have you noticed and what are you picking up?
You're so right about being overstimulated. Like, I realized I was in primary school when I got my Instagram account. Like, that's how young I was, you know? And so it's been like a phone rather has been part of my life much longer than I guess like my parents' generation, right? And I was actually reading an article this week that was talking about the age of soft transhumanism, which we are in right now. We think about how, you know, we've heard that, okay, humans having robotic infusion in their bodies or whatever, what the future is going to look like. And it sort of seems far-fetched. But what this paper was talking about was the fact that we are currently in an age where we are altering our bodies to fit an avatar. And that avatar is the image of ourselves that is online. That image is not even what is reflecting who you are anymore. It's a perfected version. And what we are now doing softly and slowly as human beings is we are looking at that as the mirror. And that is the reference image of what we want to alter ourselves and our bodies to. It makes me think about, okay, what does it mean to be a human being now? What does it mean to be a woman anymore if I am looking at something that is online? If I am looking at an image of something, and now I think about the fact that for the longest time, that's what I've been exposed to. I recently realized how I wake up first thing in the morning. It's TikTok, it's Instagram. I'm anxious before I even brush my teeth. Like, how nonsensical is that? How are we feeding ourselves with all of these things that are impacting how our day is going to go? And so I decided, like, you know what, the beginning of October, I'm not doing any of that. And I actually started journaling. And I got the Wisdom and Wellness October journal. My goodness. I've been able to sort of just determine how I want my day to go, what I want to see, what I want to feel about myself. How much control do you feel that you have over your mind anymore these days?
None.
And then what does that mean for your eyes? What are you looking at when you look in the mirror? Or when you look at your sister next to you?
Sure. Jax, you speak about, it's actually really thought-provoking questions as you're speaking. And I mean, I think I got Instagram. We had BBM, but didn't you have to log on or mix it? You had to log on and you had to hope that your friend is online. And it was a lot of effort and you couldn't, and if your data's, it wasn't even data, what was it? No, MMS. Gonna log or that thing that you needed. If it was finished, it was finished. You didn't have an app to just automatically reload. Like you had to wait for the next day. So now when you say from primary, firstly, I got a phone in high school. From primary, you've had a phone and you've had Instagram. And that's all you know. And you wake up and you go on TikTok because that's normal. I wonder how much of you actually know. Like how much of your generation actually, like you said, knows what it actually means to be human, to be free. And Jax, I'm going to bring it to you. You spoke about how you were a free girl who loved your braids and your colorful hair. I want you to talk to me about the transition of letting that go, because now it's easy for you to sit and say, hey, I decided I'm going to go cut, and then for 3 months I'm not putting on a cap and a wig. And I think you could have. You really could have. Nobody would have blamed you, but you decided not to. But tell me about the daily struggles of that, of accepting something you wouldn't choose.
So I think first and foremost, my situation was unique, and I think this is why girlhood and friendship is so important. The day I cut my hair, my friends drilled into me. You look stunning. You look beautiful. This is incredible, right? The difficulty of it came when I mostly dressed androgynously. So I dressed more like a guy, even though, I'm straight or whatever. Was then the assumption that I am gay, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just want to say. So I then struggled with, how do I now start feeling feminine now that I'm bold, right? That was the biggest thing for me, the femininity part. Like, do I now start wearing dresses more, which I do. When I had braids, I could be how I'm dressed right now, and the braids would bring that femininity. But I think community for me, and even in like environments like this today, a lot of you have come with your friends, with your family. Community helps beauty.
Ooh,
like community
helps beauty. Love
like,
that. Yeah.
Have real people around you. I think that's something we don't speak about. Have people that are constantly, not glorifying you, because then it can get tricky, but my friends will always say, oh, you look really pretty today. I'm not a makeup girly. Ninga face beat and think like, this is my day. I'm a, skin-free girl, and my friends will always say, your skin looks so good today. Yeah. And I think those are the things that we need to just keep doing in our communities, reminding each other, because you never know when someone is on a downslope, and it could be just that one compliment that takes them or changes their day, Yeah.
My angel, tell me your name and tell me what beauty means to you. Beg the audience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anele Morgan, and I think what beauty means to me is being the real you. And I say that being a girlie who walks around with a scar on her face, and that's the first thing that people see.
I didn't see a scar. I saw a queen. Let's give her a big round of applause.
So the last question, let me have a look at that. I'm going to start with you, Amahle. How can different generations come together to redefine beauty instead of clashing over it?
Tough
Tough.
one. I think in general, there's always just different beauty standards for different generations. But it all goes back, I guess, to community, right? And building bonds with each other, regardless of this whole thing like Dimdala, or this is the way a woman of this age is meant to dress versus that. Combating those kinds of stereotypes, for me, would bridge that gap between the older generation and younger generation. And more than anything, judgment. Like, we will sit now and say, oh, the young people dress like this, I'm still part of the youth league, according to the ANC Youth League. So I'm there with Lerai. But I think it's more conversations like this. I think today we have a variety of people with a variety of ages, from a variety of backgrounds. And it's quite essential for us to keep reminding ourselves that before we are this age and that age, we are people, and then we are women. And so remove the judgment, because you also don't want to be judged when whatever it is that you're wearing. And then when men enter into the picture, if we are going to judge ourselves, we give them the leeway to judge us. And so for me, it's not an age thing. It's a woman thing in general. Yeah.
Lerai, any parting words from you? How can different generations come together to redefine beauty?
Ooh, the intergenerational conversation. I think for me, it's about looking at beauty. For me, was defined by my mother, because that is who I saw beauty rituals from. My first exposure to, waking up in the morning, the lotioning yourself up, whatever the facial routine was, And when it came to how one dresses, it was my grandmother. Ugogo ambambiza uSister B. Elokshini, and she was just like, in her time, she was just a diva. She was a Whitney Houston or whatever have you. And so it's really about appreciating the beauty in one another and sort of realizing the different phases that they have gone through in their beauty, I look at my grandmother and I see her now, she's aged, she's wrinkled, but I'm looking at the life that she has lived and the people that she has touched. And I look at my mother and I realize I need to be much more gentle with her, I need to be much more gentle with how much she sacrificed to raise me all by herself. And I think when we start to see each other like that for everything that the other person has done, for the journey that they have walked, regardless of what you know or do not know about their journey, the fact that this person has lived an entire life and they have experienced so many things, they've experienced people and they have impacted people to themselves. I think that's how I start to see my people. I start to see myself and what my potential is. And that's what community also means for me, when you have those intergenerational conversations. Once again, I feel like my message for today is see yourself and see the people around you. Look in the mirror and really see yourself, man. Look at yourself and see yourself for who you are. Not what you think your potential is, but for who you are right now. And it's about being happy with that, about where you've come and all the people that came, that created you, that impacted your life so that you are the person that you are today.
I love that. So I lost my mom when I was 18. I just finished matric. My results came out, I think it was a Tuesday or something. And then my mom went in for a quick operation to remove a cyst. And then she came back and she literally walked out of the house. It was one of those, we're going to come in, we're going to pick her up, and she's going to recover from home. And she came back and I could see that this person was in dire straits. And then I said to her, I think you should go back. You are not well. She's like, no, don't worry. I'll be fine. I'll be, well by Saturday. It was going to be my brother's birthday on Saturday, and we were going to do a braai. She's like, I'll be well and we'll do a braai. And then she passed away Friday night. And for me, that has redefined my relationship with my face. Because when I see my face, I see my mother. And there are things I used to hate about myself that I love about myself now. Because it's memory, it's a reminder that she was here and she loved me and she was beautiful and I am beautiful. And I think for me, that is interracial beauty, where we are so short-sighted when we're younger that we want to look like Kim Kardashian, we want to look like Beyonce. And today I am so grateful that I look like my mother.